Tom Fielder. I'm a volunteer with Housing is a Human Right, Orange
Tom, could
County.
you start all over, please?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Tom Fielder. I'm a volunteer with Housing is a Human Right, Orange County and People's Homeless Task Force, Orange County. I'd like to welcome you to Housing is a Human Right, Orange County's annual event on the longest night of the year. Today, as a way of honoring the lives we have lost this year, we read the names of every unhoused person who has passed away in 2024, as recorded by the Orange County Coroner's Office, and supplemented with the names of people we know. We will also be providing reflections throughout the presentation, and because we are an advocacy coalition, we will end with a call to action. We know that many of these deaths are preventable. When people have access to safe, permanent, affordable homes, they are more likely to live longer, healthier lives. Our county can and must prioritize affordable housing as a solution to houselessness and a form of healthcare. We will be reading from an incomplete list of names because the county only identifies those who have passed away as unhoused if they died while living on the streets or, in the language of the coroner, without fixed abode. But we know that unhoused people who died while living in shelters, vehicles, hospitals, and other institutions are missing from the list. While we do not know their names, we mourn their passing as well. HHROC would like to honor and recognize all innocent infants, children, people with disabilities, older adults, sisters, brothers, mothers, and fathers around the world who die needlessly because they suffer from poverty and or are needlessly killed as a result of war within their country. Orange County, the seventh wealthiest county in the United States, has a budget of over $9.5 billion and approximately $1 billion in discretionary funds. But we are not at war. Yet during 2024, around 400 unhoused people will have had their deaths recorded by the coroner's office. They died while trying to survive the hourly and daily challenges resulting from abject poverty and by being ignored by their county government leaders. Unhoused neighbors in Orange County were not killed by bombs or the bullets of war. Instead, these human beings were willfully ignored and left to die on the streets throughout Orange County, while the County Board of Supervisors spends hundreds of millions of dollars on law enforcement rather than fund and prioritize the permanent housing and community services needed to help save the lives of housing and food insecure people throughout the county. Nobody should have to die needlessly simply because they are poor. Housing is a Human Right. Orange County believes that housing is a right. And now we're going to read the names of those who died this past year. And I'm going to turn it over to Sharon.
Hello, I'm Sharon O'Hara from the City of Orange. I'm a new volunteer with Housing is a Human Right. Those who passed unhoused in December 2023 are Jesse Camus, who died in Orange, Liviu Murasan, Santa Ana, Stanley Warhol, Anaheim, Rachel Sebastian, Anaheim, Andre Swain, Orange, Todd Utt, Anaheim, Daniel Prawl, Fullerton, Abdallah Thrower, Seal Beach, George Schiltz, Fullerton, Julie Johnson, Huntington Beach, David Ellers II, La Habra, Mark Price, Garden Grove, Rosa Castro, Fountain Valley, Mark Lewis, Santa Ana, Felix Cedeno, Fullerton, Philip Wright, Anaheim, Charles Schoonover III, Stanton, Jorge Gonzalez Noriega, Santa Ana, David Flores, Garden Grove, Anton Kirkpatrick, Santa Ana. Now, Tom.
Hi, Tom Fielder here again. And the following people died in December of 2023.
Tom, you're muted.
Hi, Tom Fielder again, and I'll continue with the people who died in December of 2023. Ron Swoverland in Costa Mesa, Joseph Sands in Fullerton, James Lee in La Habra, Tara Wilson in Orange, Burton Bell in Huntington Beach, Dung Lei in Fountain Valley, Jason Postier in Westminster, Dane Zachary in Westminster, Robert Pickens in Anaheim, Rex Petrosky from Fountain Valley, Javier Beniz in Santa Ana, Andrea Botello in Orange. And the following people died in January of 2024. Lauren Demare in Orange, Brandy Gretz in Anaheim, Robert Anaya Jr. in Garden Grove, Jennifer Winners in Westminster, Francisco Chavez in Westminster, Miguel Flores Luarte in Costa Mesa, Judith Ruiz in Anaheim, Ronald Naylor in Anaheim, and Mai Dang in Fountain Valley. And I'll turn it over to Alice now.
Hello, my name is Alice Soto, and I'm a member of HHROC, a volunteer, since last year when I went to the Longest Night Memorial and saw the 511 lights that represented each person who died on the streets. From that point on, I've been committed to the work of HHROC. I also am committed to Orange County Peace Coalition and the Sisters of St. Joseph Social Justice Committee. It is my honor to continue to read those who have died in January. Judith Stanford, Orange. Stephen Smallwood, Westminster. Tommy Martin, Costa Mesa. Roberto Gomez, Anaheim. Joe Torres, Orange. Luis de los Santos Caño, Fountain Valley. Samuel Mata, Orange. Ray Felix Torres, Santa Ana. Peter Galitzin, Laguna Hills. Mark Sinkinson, Anaheim. Donald Magnuson, Costa Mesa. Peter Shearlink, Los Alamitos. James Watilo, Santa Ana. William Rhodes, Anaheim. Emily Weiss, Garden Grove. Chantrell Barcaras, Orange. Alejandro Cachachuri, Trejo, Santa Ana. Joseph Calvani, Mission Viejo. Gregory Caño, Orange. Carlos Lanuza, Garden Grove. And now I pass it on to Riley.
Hello, everyone. My name is Riley Emch. I've been involved with HHROC on and off for a few years now. It started in 2022. And I will be reading the names of people who passed away in mid to late January of 2024. Bill Kosareff, who died in Orange. Lawrence Burnett, who died in Orange. Cynthia Horntassel, who died in Buena Park. Carlos Jacks, who died in Orange. Jeffrey Kendall, who died in Orange. Darren Smith, who died in Huntington Beach. John Cephalus, who died in Lake Forest, John Hanna, who died in Santa Ana, Kennedy Gonzalez, who died in Anaheim, Steven Scarcella, who died in Laguna Hills, Anthony Lauber, who died in Anaheim, Frederick Schonder, who died in Fountain Valley, Daniel Lugo, who died in Anaheim, Donald Rogers, who died in Fountain Valley, Michael Eade, who died in Irvine, Alyssa Staudinger, who died in Lake Forest, William Paredes, who died in Orange, Michael Young Jr., who died in Santa Ana, Sean Bryant, who died in Fullerton, Andres Carrillo, who died in Orange, and Alejandro Valenzo, who died in Tustin. I will now pass it off to Kimberly.
Thank you, Riley. My name is Kimberly Adams. I live in Tustin. I've been working with or volunteering with Housing as a Human Right Orange County since 2017, and I came on to help individuals and families who deserve the same rights and hopes and dreams that we all share. I'd like to begin with a remembrance, followed by reading the names of people who died in 2024, February 2024. First, I'd like to honor Fauna Hopkins, age 50, who passed away in Anaheim at the Center of Hope Salvation Army. She died from an overdose. She had been unhoused on the streets for the past several years. And I will now read the names. Mark Shegich in Costa Mesa, Edward Manriquez, Huntington Beach, James Carpenter, died in Anaheim, Irina Zimova, died in Costa Mesa, Roy Lacey Jr. I'm sorry, I lost it. There we go. Roy Lacey Jr., Costa Mesa, Devin Velasquez, Anaheim, Frederick Savage, Santa Ana, Gregory Castle, Laguna Hills, Eugene Williams Jr., died in Newport Beach, Matthew Hicks, Santa Ana, George Letner, Santa Ana, Christine Brown, Stanton, James Fellows, who died in Huntington Beach, Lydia Rodriguez, Santa Ana, Lamont Phillips, died in Santa Ana, Felipe Gregorio Gabriel, died in Westminster, Don Youngman, died in Fullerton, James Goodlow, died in Huntington Beach, Daniel Vivar, died in Orange, and Michael Seja died in Midway City. I will now pass it on to Rhonda.
My name is Rhonda Moore. I'm the founder of Charity Crochet Exchange and Help OC Unhoused. I've been meeting up with Housing as a Human Right since 2022, and I've been volunteering more frequently lately with them. Today I am reading a very special name, my cousin Darren Moore, who died in March. And I will continue reading the names from February. Zachary Slip, who died in Santa Ana. Patrick Marr, who died in Santa Ana. Roberta Castaneda, who died in Santa Ana. Danielle Beidel, who died in Anaheim. Scott Behrens, who died in Orange. Israel Vargas, who died in Costa Mesa. Brian Kudel, who died in Anaheim. Roman Riley. How do you pronounce that name again? Altikov, who died in Irvine. Frank Martinez, who died in Orange. Alfonso Cisneros, who died in Santa Ana. Tobias Flores, who died in Huntington Beach. Augustus Sosa, who died in Anaheim. Manuel Reyes, who died in Orange. And now I will read the names who died in March. Nicole McCormick, who died in Fountain Valley. Sandra Flores, who died in Santa Ana. Starlight Elliott, who died in Costa Mesa. Moses Ocampo, who died in San Juan Capistrano. Gilbert Trevina, who died in Garden Grove. Camilo Lopez, who died in Garden Grove. And Sharon Scott, who died in Santa Ana. And I will now pass it to Eve.
Thank you, Rhonda, and my deepest condolences on your cousin.
Thank you.
I will now read the names of additional people who died in March of 2024. Oh, by the way, my name is Eve Garrow. I'm a volunteer with HHROC, other groups in Orange County, and I work for the ACLU of Southern California. And I've been working with HHRC since its founding in about 2016 or 2017. So on to the names of more people who died in March. Alan Young, who died in Santa Ana. Edgar Romo Hermosillo, who died in Lake Forest. Alejandro Campos Rios, who died in Orange. Jorge Vega, who died in Buena Park. Michael Desper, who died in Orange. Ronald Galejo, who died in Fountain Valley. Hector Ortiz, who died in Santa Ana. Marcus Areza, who died in Stanton. Brittany Lawrence, who died in Orange. Giovanni Escobar, who died in Santa Ana. Jason Athens, who died in Stanton. Courtney Ditzler, who died in La Palma. Brianna Mahoney, who died in Anaheim. Joaquin Bahena, who died in Laguna Hills. Joshua Alfreda, who died in Garden Grove. Omar Orozco Morales, who died in Santa Ana. Adam Ricketts, who died in Tustin. Gayleen Harrington, who died in Westminster. Mabel Cummings, who died in Laguna Beach. Jared Edmond, who died in Santa Ana. And Jeffrey Bieber, who died in Costa Mesa. And I'll now pass it on to Linda to read more of the names.
I'm Linda Linkry. I've been a part of HHROC since the beginning, and I'm also with People's Homeless Task Force Orange County, the Unitarian Universalist Church in Anaheim, and OCO. To finish up March, Miguel Luna, who died in Fullerton, James Buchanan, who died in Orange, Edith Zarita, who died in Tustin, Samantha Mertz, who died in Anaheim, Hugh Tran, who died in Westminster, Celso Morales Delgado, who died in Mission Viejo, DeMarie Barnes, who died in Fullerton, John Booth, who died in Santa Ana, Michael Paida, who died in Santa Ana, David Bergstead, who died in Newport Beach, Joshua Michael Waring, who died in Garden Grove, Matthew Adams, who died in Santa Ana, Roberto Valdivia, who died in April of Anaheim, James Durand, who died in Anaheim, Daniel Martin, who died in Fountain Valley, Carlos Velasquez, who died in Santa Ana, Casey North, who died in Anaheim, Richard Rainey, who died in Santa Ana, Jose Romo Jr., who died in Santa Ana, Michael Griffith, who died in Orange. And I will pass this on to Felicity.
Thank you, Linda. Hello, my name is Felicity Figueroa. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I have been a volunteer with Housing as a Human Right Orange County for a number of years. I'm also the chair of an LGBTQ rights organization, the Orange County Equality Coalition. And I am the current president of the Newport Mesa Irvine Interfaith Council and a volunteer with the Orange County Rapid Response Network. And my church, Irvine United Congregational, is one of the sites where you can see the purple flags commemorating all the deaths of the unhoused this year. And now I will read the names that continue in April. Hung Nguyen, who died in Santa Ana. Michelle Leal, who died in Orange. Misael Membreno, who died in Santa Ana. Liliana Cortez, who died in Anaheim. Abraham Abudaca, who died in Anaheim. Douglas Aguirre, who died in San Juan Capistrano. Kianush Mokhtar Sadeh Husseini, who died in Anaheim. Isidro Perez Munoz, who died in Costa Mesa. Kenny Seiler, who died in Garden Grove. Javier Manriquez, who died in Santa Ana. Ursula Platt, who died in Santa Ana. Raymond Phillips, who died in Santa Ana. Rathana Hong, who died in Anaheim. Mitchell Smith, who died in Anaheim. Emily Chisa, who died in Irvine. Robert Schubert, who died in Santa Ana. Ruben Perez Jr., who died in Fullerton. Jason Young, who died in Lake Forest. Alton Purnell, who died in Santa Ana. And Richard Harrington Jr., who died in Huntington Beach. And I'll pass it on to Dave.
Thank you, Felicity. Dave Duran, he, him, his, currently reside in Anaheim. I have lived in Orange County for over 50 years and various other cities, however. And I'd like to go ahead and read the names, some names of those who've passed. Robert Ruiz, who died in Anaheim in April. Bryce Daly, who died in May in Huntington Beach. Valerie Ramirez, who died in Santa Ana. All of the rest of the names that I'll be reading died in the month of May. Damien Lamoureux, who died in Huntington Beach. Julio Hernandez, who died in Anaheim. Zungi Zuho, who died in Irvine. Larry Becky, who died in Buena Park. Labardo Estrada, who died in Orange. Edwin Bernal, who died in Santa Ana. Shirley Gomez, who died in Anaheim. Ida Wolf, who died in Costa Mesa. Anthony Alacio, who died in Garden Grove. Cesar Loya Leon, who died in Anaheim. Adnan Hasanovic, who died in Anaheim. Rocky Villanueva, who died in Santa Ana. Andrew Cavalieri, who died in Huntington Beach. Daniel Sheehan, who died in Fountain Valley. Alfred Mendez, who died in Orange. Esteban Jaimes, who died in Santa Ana. And Michael Camarena, who also died in Santa Ana. And I'd like to go ahead and pass it over to Patty. Thank you.
My name is Patty Vititis. I'm from San Clemente, and I'm very new to HHROC, but I'm honored that they're giving me this chance to recognize some of our neighbors who passed in this past year. I will start with the names of additional people who passed in May. Tina Abbott from Fountain Valley. Charles Granados died in Anaheim. Paul Ogle died in Santa Ana. Robert Miklich Jr. from Anaheim. Sonny Perez from Fullerton. Joshua Williams from Garden Grove. And now I have some additional names of those we lost in June. Ruby Collins from Huntington Beach. Michelle Marston Kelly from Fullerton. Vinnie Tran, Fountain Valley. Antonio Castro Segovia from Newport Beach. Chris Tafoya Sr. from Anaheim. Kenneth Taylor in Santa Ana. Edilberto Gonzalez Canas from Brea. Daisy Cruz, who died in Anaheim. Charles Canduye from Laguna Beach. Bobby Griffith from Orange. Juan Lopez from Garden Grove. Stephen Beckman from Huntington Beach. Mark Simic from Westminster. Cameron Doherty, Laguna Beach. And John Cervantes Castro from Santa Ana. And now I'm going to pass it over to Sean.
Hello, I'm Sean Drexler, pronouns he, him. I'm a member of the Orange County Peace Coalition. I volunteered with Housing as a Human Right Orange County last year and this year for their Black Friday demos for Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Month. I had the honor of reading some of the names of unhoused people who died on the streets in Orange County last year, and I am honored to read the names of some of those who died in the month of June 2024. Garth Edberg, who died in Westminster. Gustavo de Jesus Martinez Ruby, who died in Anaheim. Daniel Gonzalez, who died in the city of Orange. String Hawk, who died in Rancho Santa Margarita. Robert Solt, who died in Santa Ana. Christian Pabon, who died in Anaheim. Eric Rodriguez, who died in Stanton. Shayna Gordon, who died in Garden Grove. Todd Risner, who died in the city of Orange. Eulalio Rivera, who died in the city of Orange. Evan Goren, who died in Huntington Beach. J.D. Whittle, who died in Santa Ana. Lonnie Starnes, who died in Santa Ana. Jenna Mayer, who died in Mission Viejo. Abdelmanem Habiballa, who died in Santa Ana. Thomas Nguyen, who died in Anaheim. Andrea Sones, who died in Westminster. I will also read the names of some of the people who died unhoused in the month of July. Scott Nelson, who died in Anaheim. Stanley Kim, who died in Stanton. And Scott Cornakia, who died in the city of Orange. And I will now pass it on to Alice.
I will continue those who have died in July and make a comment that I live in Santa Ana, and Santa Ana is the city that has the highest amount of deaths from living on the streets. Marcelo Morales Mafara, who died in Santa Ana. Pamela Wild, who died in Orange. Eric Bolton, who died in Orange. Margaret Duncan, who died in Costa Mesa. Justin Lance, who died in Huntington Beach. Danielle Klopp, pardon me, who died in Santa Ana. Randy Metcalf, who died in Irvine. Deborah Easley, who died in Santa Ana. Isa Konkar, who died in Santa Ana. Sandra Fry, who died in Anaheim. David Vargas, who died in Santa Ana. Randy Woling, who died in Newport Beach. Razikivi, pardon me. Saeed Razikivi. Aliso Viejo. Roger Ulrich Jr., who died in Tustin. David Brown, who died in Santa Ana. Michelle O'Neill, who died in Westminster. Antonio Colmenares, who died in Santa Ana. Hank Alice, who died in Westminster. Mark Peliquin, who died in Anaheim. Locke Lee, who died in Fountain Valley. And I pass it on now to Tom.
I'll continue with names of people who died in July of 2024. True Wen, who died in Huntington Beach. Tanya Kempfer, who died in Orange. Infant female Radford, who died in Fountain Valley. Jennifer Rodriguez, who died in Orange. Laura Hart, who died in Orange. And Paul Pike, who died in Santa Ana. The following people died in August of 2024. Ruben Gutierrez Garcia, who died in Anaheim. Cassandra Duenas, who died in Santa Ana. Gary Annis, who died in Mission Viejo. Christina Bug, who died in Orange. Rogelio Viramontes, who died in Buena Park. Jordan Usery, who died in Irvine. Terry Cook, who died in Newport Beach. Jose Rojas Rodriguez, who died in Orange. Sylvia Pina Diaz, who died in Placentia. Raul Beltran, who died in Santa Ana. James Anderson, who died in Mission Viejo. Patrick Speed, who died in Santa Ana. Cody McGee, who died in Silverado. And Long Wen, who died in Westminster. And I'll turn it over to Sharon.
I'm continuing the deaths in August 2024. Gary Castillo, who died in Fullerton. Christopher Lloyd, died in Anaheim. Rachel Chavez, who died in Fullerton. Lucky Lee, who died in August of 2024. Sarah Duarte, passed away in Santa Ana. Richard Salter, who died in Buena Park. Leonel Abarca, passed away in Garden Grove. Michael Barnes, who died in Tustin. James Young, who died in Laguna Beach. Grace Willoughby, passed away in San Clemente. Scott Morris, died in Santa Ana. Christopher Fisher, passed away in Santa Ana. Leanna Brown, who died in Lake Forest. Brian Varela Palacios, who died in Orange. Scott Lineberg, passed away in Santa Ana. Jacob Pomosia, who died in Anaheim, Sergey Kaopio, who died in Garden Grove, Johnny Montoya, passed away in Irvine, Kevin Lutz, who died in Fountain Valley. Sean?
Continuing names of people who died in August. Ryan Mortazavi, who died in the city of Garden Grove. And I will now read some of the names of people who died in the month of September 2024. Martin Brandel, who died in Santa Ana. Juan Diaz Escobedo, who died in Anaheim. Morgan Kelly, who died in Mission Viejo. James Ishii, who died in Santa Ana. Kenneth Persons, who died in Laguna Beach. Stephen Deckruth, who died in Stanton. Wayne Graffia, who died in Huntington Beach. Louise Foster, who died in Huntington Beach. Addison Ertler, who died in Costa Mesa. Jessica Gutierrez, who died in Newport Beach. Michael Miera, who died in the city of Orange. Richard Garcia Dominguez, who died in Anaheim. Sabrina Adame, who died in Orange. Jesus Ortiz Casillas, who died in Orange. Manuel Ramos Mejia, who died in Fullerton. Jessica Piovesan, who died in Garden Grove. Augustine Miramontes, who died in Santa Ana. Kennethera Stewart, who died in Santa Ana. And Brian Popovich, who died in Santa Ana. I will Felicity is next to read no more of the names.
Thank you, Sean. Felicity here again, and I'll be reading a couple of names who died at the end of September. Tina Greathouse, who died in Anaheim. Kristen Belovich, who died in Orange. And the rest of the names I have here died in the month of October 2024. Juan Rodriguez, who died in Fullerton. Michael Bell, who died in Anaheim. David Aguilar, who died in Buena Park. Dylan Hammonds, who died in Huntington Beach. Giovanni Abundes Castaneda, who died in San Juan Capistrano. Daniel Musso, who died in Stanton. Mario Romero, who died in Santa Ana. Tracy Mills, who died in Anaheim. Lisa Peterson, who died in Mission Viejo. Nicholas Santee, who passed away in Orange. Zachary Kenny passed away in Capistrano Beach. Stephanie Igareda, who died in Orange. Dong Lee, who died in Westminster. Samuel Rivas Sr., who died in Anaheim. Wade Venostel, who died in Orange. Amber Castillo, who died in Irvine. Ralph Marin, who passed away in Santa Ana. And Dolly Mirzoyan, who died in Anaheim. And I'll pass this on to John. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Felicity. I'm John Underwood, a longtime advocate for the housed and unhoused of Orange County and working with HHROC, especially with the street homeless of Orange County. And I am going to be continuing to read names of those who have passed away in October and into November 2024. I begin with Huang Tran, who died in Westminster. Eduardo Bustamante, who died in Santa Ana. Dennis Ray, who died in Garden Grove. Allison Weekly, who also died in Garden Grove. Alan Harrington, who died in Costa Mesa. Sonia Murray, who died in Rancho Santa Margarita. Claudia Kerr, who died in Tustin. Antoine Gutierrez, who died in Anaheim. Douglas Smith, who died in Anaheim. HHROC, who died in Irvine. Thomas Turner, who died in Santa Ana. Jadine Douglas, who died in Mission Viejo. Joseph Guzman, who died in Tustin. Joshua Medina, who died in Orange. Kelly Rayborn died in Anaheim. Damon Stansbury, who died in Cyprus. Eric Palafox, who died in Anaheim. James Gordon, who died in Garden Grove. Via Tafulu, who died in Westminster. Via John Escobar, who died in Santa Ana. And Michael Berrigan, who died in Fullerton. I'd like to make special mention also of someone who died most recently and someone who was a long time presence on the streets of Orange County, someone who suffered great maladies, including amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, was confined to a wheelchair, and yet was a vigorous and active participant and proponent of all of her homeless community friends and neighbors, people that she called family. Her name was Maria Elena Antunez. She had many friends on the street. I met her at the as far ago as the riverbed roll-ups of 2018, into the motel cycle and out into the camps that and tents that sprung up at the park. She was there fearlessly advocating for others, doing whatever she could for others, even as others began, and she required help from them, being confined to a wheelchair with ALS. She finally got her Section 8 voucher, was placed into an apartment where within months her landlord sought to evict her because she was having other homeless individuals attend to her as they did on the streets for her, and she in turn provided shelter and sustenance to them. Maria Elena eventually was confined to a hospital bed and then to a post-convalescent facility where she passed away only days ago. And I want to honor and salute her efforts as one of the many homeless who consider the unhoused of Orange County as their neighbors and, in fact, family. I'll pass it on now to Eve Garrow.
Thank you, John, and my deepest condolences for your recent loss. Eve here, she, her pronouns. I will now continue with the names of people who have died in November. Taylor Beatty, who died in Santa Ana. Rafael Cortez, who died in Santa Ana. Krista Zamora, who died in Orange. Lorenzo Bennett, who died in Santa Ana. Christian Perez Orozco, who died in Anaheim. Jill Hall, who died in Tustin. Fong Mua, who died in Garden Grove. Jeffrey Adams Jr., who died in Santa Ana. Magdaleno Ozuna Sosa, who died in Santa Ana. Akaki Keawa, who died in Anaheim. Candelario Rosales, who died in Garden Grove. Brian Sciarrot, who died in Placenta. Philip Hill, who died in Anaheim. And Carmen Armio, who died in Anaheim. That concludes the reading of the names. We want to thank you all for participating in this solemn event today. Reading the names and listening to the reflections and remembrances brings home the enormity of the preventable loss that we have endured this year in Orange County. Each name represents a precious and irreplaceable human being who is no longer with us. Reading the names evokes feelings of loss, grief, sorrow, and outrage. At Housing as a Human Right Orange County, we channel these emotions into action, and we invite you to do the same. After all, we know that these are preventable deaths, that houselessness is a policy choice, and that housing first is the solution. Housing is healthcare, housing ends houselessness, and housing saves lives. Yet, as we have heard tonight, over the years, the Board of Supervisors has committed next to none of its over $1 billion discretionary budget, which it controls and sets the priorities for, to permanent affordable housing that will end houselessness. It will take all of us working together in Orange County to create the political will to end the deaths and protect life. Right now, we invite you to send a message to all members of the Board of Supervisors expressing your outrage about these preventable deaths and calling on them to invest in affordable housing. Then next, join us on January 28th, where we will read the names at the Board of Supervisors meeting in person. You can find the details on these two actions at our website, hhroc.org. Again, that is hhroc.org. And feel free to send us an email with any questions or comments at info@hhroc.org. Again, that's info@hhroc.org. Once again, we want to thank you all for holding this sacred space with us this evening on the longest night of the year. Many of our year-round volunteers are involved in a number of community advocacy and support activities on the streets of Orange County, and many of our volunteers have spoken about some of those activities tonight. So many of us knew people on this year's list and on the lists from years past. This is an emotionally difficult observance. Please take care of yourselves and consider joining HHROC throughout the year as we continue to build a movement that will end houselessness, establish housing as a human right, and create the thriving and caring world in which we want to live. This concludes our program.
Thank you, Eve, and thank you, everyone, for your participation, for care, and for your undying support. I want to make sure that we recognize that the Unitarian Universalist Church here in Anaheim, we want to thank them for hosting this event tonight, a place where we could gather and read the names. Thank you very much for that. I also want to recognize of which would be difficult for us to continue to do what we do, and that's the California Endowment, who has been a huge financial support for HHROC, and also want to thank the Orange County Congregational Community Organization, maybe better known as OCO, for their guidance and support for HHROC throughout the last few years. But I'm not done. I really want to recognize that we have partners, we have sponsors that in this endeavor and throughout the year, quite frankly, they host, they either host venues or they participate at board of supervisors, or they help HHROC and support in many, many different ways. And I'm going to read you some of the names of those sponsors. The sponsors include the ACLU of Southern California, the Community Congregational Church at Los Alamitos, Decarcerate OC, Beauty's Kitchen, which is part of that Community Congregational Church in Los Alamitos. We've got the Irvine United Congregational Church, the El Centro Voltura de Mexico Center, the Orange County Peace Coalition, the Orange County Rapid Response Network, Isaiah House, Orange County's Catholic Worker Facility, Orange County People's Budget Organization, the Orange County People's Homeless Task Force, Resilience OC, Veterans for Peace, Sisters of St. Joseph of Oren, South County Homeless Task Force, St. Philip Benizi Catholic Church in Fullerton. We have Tapestry, the Untold Story bookstore here in Anaheim. And again, I've previously mentioned the UU Church of Anaheim and Welcoming Neighbors Home. Thank you to all of them. I don't have words that can adequately finalize what we participated in today. It's especially when it doesn't have to be this way. So again, thank you everyone. And if you have or need more information, please send us an email at info@hhroc.org. And we'll be happy to respond and give you information on how you can apply for our newsletter and keep abreast of HHROC's upcoming and future events. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thanks, everyone.